Welcome back to another Samurai Review video. We thank every one of you that are supporting us here watching this review video. Today we'll be reviewing DOLITTLE,
which is a movie that did quite little. It's bad.
This is going to be a mix of non-spoilers, spoilers. We'll try to put
that's a good idea.
We'll try to put the spoilers at the end of
Okay. You don't need to see this movie, just watch the review. Like, just, seriously, if you're like worried about spoilers for DOLITTLE, like first of all, you're going to be disappointed if you wait and go see it in the theaters and then figure out what's going on. It's going to be way more entertaining hear us talk about how insane it is. The plot to this movie is absolutely bonkers. Whoever wrote this must have been on every drug known to man, because like we'll get to it. But
so I'll go first. My rating for the DOLITTLE with Robert Downey Jr. It's a 2 out of 10, and that was a little tough of a rating for me to give it a 2.
I don't know, man. This might be the most deserving 2 I've ever seen in my life. And that's why I gave it a 10. It had John Cena in it, guys. That's an automatic 10. That's an automatic 10. I stand by it. 10. Samurai Reviews of 6.
Okay, so
I'm not changing my rating.
Yeah. The only reason why I gave it a 2 was because the voice acting was fun enough for me to kind of...
It was fun to be like, oh, that's who that is.
That's who that is.
It wasn't fun to be like, wow, that's really good voice acting.
I want to dive into story, and it's pretty funny because I have in my notes here, I was like, story for me, 1 out of 10, close to 2 out of 10. Yeah. And then I have here in my notes, Brett?
Okay.
With a question mark.
So basically, this movie starts out with some really boring exposition about how Dr. Dolittle used to have some wife that like died on a boat wreck, like I'm watching Frozen all over again. And then like this kid is like shooting like at birds and doesn't want to. So you're like, oh, he's gonna hit something on accident, which he does. He hits a squirrel, which is somehow the best part of the movie, the squirrel. Like he gives like captain's logs, and it's not that it's good. It's just that it's like, oh, I don't hate that. Sick. And then the squirrel is played by the Pontiac Bandit from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he's literally the only time in the movie where I wasn't like, oh. And I went back to that. So, all right, so that's kind of the start, and he goes and like sneaks into Dolittle's place because the parrot is like, this kid's special for no reason. I don't know, but he was, because he starts talking to animals really quick. I don't know if there's like some mutant gene that he has. And none of it makes sense, is my point. So he goes in, he gets the squirrel fixed. Dr. Dolittle's all crazy, looking like Robin Williams from Jumanji. And he's reluctant, and he's like, humans, eh. And then he's like, fine, I'll fix the squirrel. And he fixes the squirrel. And then tells the kid to leave. But then this other kid shows up. Kids just start showing up to Dolittle's house. You know how it goes. First, no one visits you for like 10 years, and then 2 kids just show up out of the blue. Two decent looking kids with like really important ties to things and abilities. So one of these kids is from the Queen, right? And then sit back, Josh.
I think she's like a princess. And the thing
is she?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, because she's all like, my mother's dying, but she's saying it while she's smiling. She's like, my mother's dying.
Dude, the only reason this character was there was to smile and be like, Dr. Dolittle's so quirky. Like that was her whole purpose as a character. Like he would do something, she'd just be like, like to be like, it's okay, kids, that's fun. I know you're like confused right now, but that's fun. See, she's smiling. Like there's a whole reason for her. And then the other kid was just there to, I don't even know. He was just there. Why couldn't you just make a movie about Dr. Dolittle? Why do you have this like love story between 2 10-year-olds? It's weird.
I actually have in my note, I was like, the villain was trash. All the side characters were trash. And there was no effect for these characters to the main story of Dolittle, and even his animals.
Dude, even
were like
Dolittle.
Yeah.
Dolittle was, I was like, who the hell? Like, why does anyone need you? The Queen was like dying, and they were like, go get a veterinarian. What? All right. All right, so that's basically what the girl came to say. She was like, the queen's dying. They sent me, a 10-year-old, to come find you who's lived like alone for 10 years. And you're going to lose your enclosure, which we didn't get to see, which was the only like pretty thing in the whole fucking thing. We go into this closure and there's all these animals and different landscapes. And you're like, wow, whoa. And then they're like, all right, forget about that. Come see the interior of this one room for the next 30 minutes. And so she's like, come, you're going to lose your enclosure if you don't save the queen. So he gets a haircut. Just cause, like, that's fun. Haha, Robert Downey got a haircut. That's so entertaining. It was stupid. So he gets a haircut, and then he rides an ostrich, which is Kumail Nanjiani, which, another thing that wasn't bad.
He fits the ostrich.
Kumail Nanjiani and John Cena's chemistry was actually not bad.
And the squirrel. And the squirrel.
Yeah, the squirrel. Again, I'm saying not bad on purpose because it wasn't good. So, it was John Cena, though, so that's a 10. But they go to the queen, and this vet is like, oh, man, you're going to die if I don't get you this fruit from a tree. Which, like, I might as well have just plunged my hand into the cliche bowl and pulled out a Mad Lib of cliches. Because that's exactly what this movie is. Like, you have to go find a magic fruit from a mystery island that your wife somehow, like, mysteriously died on trying to get to. Which, later in this movie, they have no trouble getting to. I'm not even halfway through this, guys. So the rest of the movie takes place on a boat. They're just on a boat for like an hour. And there's another boat that wants to boat them. And their boat's boater because it has a whale.
There's actually like maybe 4 total locations.
There is, and it's like a long movie. So it's the boat, his house, and the queen's room, and then the island. Not really, though. We don't get to see the magical island. We get to see a cave on the magical island.
Oh, and a dungeon. That's about it.
Ooh, and the dungeon. There's a dungeon.
So 5. There you go.
Yeah, so...
But you can just imagine a dungeon, a cave, a room, another room, and a boat.
And they're not, like, the boat wasn't, like, anything, like, whimsical or anything. It was, like, it was a boat. It was supposed to be entertaining, I guess.
Worst action movie.
What are you waiting for?
Or adventure movie I've ever seen.
Something amazing, I guess. That's how I felt this whole movie, was that kid in Incredibles. Because this movie doesn't go anywhere. All it does, like, this entire time, basically the animals are saying one-liners that are from, like, the 90s. And then Robert Downey's doing some weird accent where he's like, oh, well, I guess we have to go find the island. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Who told you to do that?
His voice and his lips don't even match up.
That's
like, together.
They voice over lines where you're like, what the hell are you? Why'd you put that in there? Like, he's clearly not saying anything, and they just voice over him saying, like, come on, then. And you're like, did you need that? Did you need that? Come on, then. Did you need that? Come on, then. That's exactly how his voice was. It was weird. I didn't like it at all. Robert Downey's a great actor, but this movie just makes, like, great actors seem terrible. Like, it's the magical thing about this movie is that. So, they're on this boat for a while. This one guy tries to kill him, who is the most childish, like, Jar Jar Binks-ish villain I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's, like, talking to a octopus at one point, and he's like, I'm not stupid, Dr. Doolittle's stupid. No one understands me. And then someone comes in and is like, sir? And he's like, I wasn't talking to the octopus! Like, what the hell? Is that funny? Seriously, has any kid laughed at that?
Okay, look, I understand. It is a kid's movie, but I'm going to list some movies here. Hercules, Mulan, Phineas and Ferb, Frozen, Moana. I can keep going. Kids would rather watch that than having a dragon fart in Robert's face.
You can find way more interesting things to watch for 2 hours for your kids. If they like animals, watch Zaboomafoo, because that show is banging. Yeah, no, this movie doesn't have any redeeming qualities, and that's the big problem with it. Because during these scenes that we've talked about, it seems like I've talked about maybe 4 minutes of a movie, but I probably have covered the first hour and a half at this point. Besides the part where they try and sneak into this guy's castle to get this journal that his wife used to have that might have the location of the island they need to get to.
But even like the visual effects, like the VFX was not impressive at all.
No.
The animals didn't even look real besides maybe the bird. And then like
The
it
enclosure.
just felt so vibrant
It felt like they spent all their money on the
and
enclosure.
stuff that it's like
It was, yeah.
it was way too much for me. I felt sick actually watching it. The set designs was just you obviously knew that it was just on stage, like it was in a stage, and it was just all green screen, CGI, all that stuff.
They must have done like 2 camera angles too.
It was
Like
the Lion King, the live action Lion King, like the Jungle Book,
freaking
the
Toy
live action
Story.
art, like Toy Story, way better than like this. I gave the writing a 1 out of 10 because you even mentioned it, where the climax of this movie,
Gonna surprise
and you throw a fart joke in there.
The climax is literally Robert Downey pulling bagpipes out of a dragon's ass.
And that's where Robert Downey Jr., that's like his arc. That's his arc.
That's the like, they're like, well, we did it. Bagpipes removed.
I finally got to overcome my depression of my lost wife that got lost
Because I got
in sea.
fart straight to the face. Dragon fart straight to the face.
And I pulled a bagpipe out of a dragon's butt.
Kids will love it. Have some sort of depth to your movie. Like something, man. And then obviously they find the fucking fruit, right? But I'm cursing a lot in this movie because I hate it. That's how you know, like, I don't like movies. Like, the more bleeps I have, either I loved it or I hated it. It's like the farther to the edge of my rating, the more curse words come out. But yeah, so they've obviously, like, after that, the dragon's like, oh, by the way, the fruit's right here. And they're like, cool, fruit. And then they go back to the queen and they make it just in time. And,
It's so bad. If it's okay with you, I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't want to talk about it anymore.
yeah.
Dolittle for
6
us
out of 10.
is nominated to be the worst movie of 2020.
Yeah, quite possibly. I can't imagine getting beat by anything, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad as the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, I feel like it's on the same level.
It was about there. I haven't seen anything as bad as that since then. Like, that's, yeah.
Nominated for one of the worst movies of 2020. And this was actually one of the
We're just,
first
like,
movies
a
that
week
came
in,
out
yeah.
in January. Like, we're starting this year off really great. That's a Samurai Review rating of a 6.
6. Worst movie of the year.
The worst movie of the year. It's really a 2.
If John Cena wasn't in it, it would be a 2.
I mean, Tom Holland, Selena Gomez, Emma Thompson,
Antonio Banderas, right?
yeah, Rami Malek, Kamal Nanjiani, Octavia Spencer, Ralph Fiennes, Craig Robinson, and Jason Mantzoukas. You had all of those. Robert Downey Jr. You had all of them, and you mess it up.
It's almost like someone was making a parody of comedy movies where they were like writing jokes that they were like, this is clearly not funny and that's why it's funny. But like they were making it for kids who would think it was funny. It would, man, I don't know, man. This is just a bad movie. Avoid it. Don't watch it. Yeah, if I ever see this movie, I'm going to be amazed. I'd be like, someone wanted to buy a single copy, like a store wanted a copy of this. Like someone wanted a copy of this. It's going to blow my mind. Blew all their budget on the cast.
That's our review video for Dolittle.
Don't watch Dolittle.
If you liked our rant on how much we hated Dolittle, hit that like button. Definitely subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time on our next Samurai Review video.